to Nihilism series on Monkey D Luffy.
Yeah. Monkey D Luffy. Episode 2. Last time we went over the first 10 seemingly, but we also kind of set the basis for what we're doing in these videos, talking about Luffy being the ubermensch, and we're doing a deep dive of all the episodes to really point out like what characteristics make him the ubermensch and how it's affecting his journey through the story.
So yeah, we left off, I guess technically we left off right before he got to Usopp's island / village. So he shows up, meets Usopp. Usopp is a how do I say it politely?
He is a glorified popular liar. The word glorified is how we be polite about it. Because
I feel like the only thing you can call him is a liar ass bitch. Because that's his whole, I mean, he even has a Pinocchio nose, dude.
That's a good addition because his whole village knows him as a liar. Like, he's been doing it since he was a kid.
But you find out like it all comes from a good place at the end. He's not the bad guy with the stupid name like that. Okay, I have no clue what happened there. It should be working normal now.
OBS.
Yeah. OBS can be annoying sometimes. But he meets Kaya, Clawdor. Ignore the name. It doesn't matter really, because it's obviously a bad guy's name. Meets Mary and Pepper, Onion, and Carrot. Those are the little kids that hang out with Usopp. And that's pretty much all you need to know for that part. Clawdor turns out to be the bad guy. Usopp, being on his Pinocchio trip, tells everybody. Nobody believes him. He runs off to find the Straw Hats. And when he finds the Straw Hats, he's just like, guys, Clawdor is actually a pirate. He's coming to kill Kaya, take her money, and ransack the village. And the Straw Hats are just like, wow, that really sucks. What are you going to do about it? And he's just like, well, obviously I'm going to fight to save my home. And the Straw Hats are just like, then we got your back if you're going to fight. And Luffy literally tells Usopp, when Usopp's thanking him for helping, like he's acting all pitiful and pathetic, and Luffy looks at him and says, you really think we'd risk our lives out of pity?
Who? Like, yeah, he would definitely not do that just because he wanted to pity someone. He'd have to have a better reason than just pity.
Yeah, he doesn't put up with that. He doesn't put up with that pity stuff. Like, Usopp had to be willing to fight for Luffy to help him. Usopp couldn't just be like, Luffy, please protect us. Usopp had to put his life on the line, or Luffy wouldn't be about it.
Yep, because you want to, as like a potential overman, he will want somebody who's joining his crew to be at least willing to fight for their own dreams.
Yeah, that's the big thing is Luffy's all about fighting for life, like persevering for life. And so he doesn't want to be friends with somebody that can't do that.
Right.
And so he agrees to help. They set up a bunch of stuff to stop the pirates, but it turns out they're in the wrong spot. Because Usopp just assumed they'd be in the same place where Clawdor would be in the same place where he met his pirate buddy.
But turns out they on the other side of the island.
Directly north. And that doesn't sound important, but because Zoro has never gone the right way in his life.
Ever.
But it's crazy that he knows exactly what direction is north. So how the fuck does he keep getting lost later on in the story?
I mean, my guess would be he just doesn't have a head strength for direction. Like, yeah, he knows
but he knew
north
exactly where to go. Because the only reason he gets stuck is because they put a bunch of booby traps in oil.
Yeah.
And Nami slips, grabs Zoro, and pulls Zoro down so she can get out the oil. So Zoro spends like 20 minutes trying to get out the oil before he says, screw this, pulls out his swords and use them like stakes to get up the hill. But he gets there like right after that. Like he like immediately gets north. How? How'd he know?
Hey, I guess that was simplified.
I don't believe it.
Because he gets lost in the cities way more than he does like in a plane, but still like a valley.
It's not a plane, remember? It's a big forest.
Yeah.
Just we get shown in like 2 episodes, it's not a little forest. It's a really big ass forest. Like national park level big.
Bruh. I get it. I mean, Hey, I mean, for the rest of the story, Luffy and the rest of them are always guiding him. So, hey, if he gets one and he knows where north is, I can give him that a little bit. Because, I mean, north, the direction doesn't matter that much going forward, like, for regular stuff. Because, like, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Like, it doesn't matter, but it's just something I feel like people overlook, and it cracks me up. He knew it at one point, what happened there. So, on topic of doesn't know directions, Luffy, in his infinite wisdom, just runs in the direction that's coldest because he doesn't know where north is.
He just colder.
Yeah, I love that little bit. He's just like, I ran in the direction that's coldest. What the heck? Like, how do the degrees don't change that much?
It can't.
It's maybe like 3 between the spots. Maybe the
like
fact that he
could
could tell that while he's friggin' sprinting is hilarious. So he finally shows up in the right spot because he went to all the wrong spots. And he shows up out of breath. Him and Zoro are both out of breath, which just shows like Luffy probably has more stamina than Zoro, because Luffy ran like almost the entire circumference of the friggin' island. So they show up. Luffy, how do you put it politely, absolutely destroys some of these lame pirates. They're the Black Cat Pirates, by the way. That's what they're called. They look really dumb.
I mean, come on, Kuro got literal poop emoji on his freaking coat. Like, it don't get more ridiculous than that.
Like, bruh, they look ridiculous. They all wear like e-girl friggin' cat ears, and they all look stupid.
That's a trend in One Piece.
Yeah. That Oda should stop, by the way. They should totally stop. But, like, they're the Black Cat Pirates, and, like, in the West, Black Cats are seen as, like, a bad omen. Like, they're unlucky. But in Japan, they're seen as lucky. So, it's ironic, because they were super unlucky to pick this island at this time.
That is very crazy.
Like,
that is very crazy.
So, Luffy shows up, beats up some of the pirates. A Michael Jackson impersonator is there.
Django.
Like, he moonwalks and everything. He looks like Michael Jackson post-Fertiligo. Like, it's hilarious.
Verbatim.
He hypnotizes people with chakrams. It's weird. Oda was definitely high on something when he designed the Black Cat Pirates. So, Luffy's scaring the crap out of all the pirates and everything. So John Ghost's just like, oh crap, I'm going to hypnotize y'all. And so he hypnotizes his crew, and Luffy's dumb enough to stare at the thing he's using to hypnotize. So Luffy gets like roided the F out, like, and he goes insane. His irises disappear, and he just runs through the pirates yelling, and runs up to their friggin' boat, because the hypnotism that he did was just like, you're super strong and you can't feel pain sort of thing. And so Luffy runs up, grabs the figurehead of the front of the ship, and just rips that shit off.
just takes it right off.
Mine. And then he's about to hit all the pirates with it, and Django just goes, hypnotize, go to sleep. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, dog. And he falls asleep with it on top of him. But it ends up taking like a quarter of the pirates out with him, because the figurehead's like 4 or 5 times Luffy's height. So, quarter of the pirates out of commission. Everything looks good. The pirates are getting absolutely trounced. And then my least favorite characters in the show pop out. The Miao Band brothers.
Miao Band
brothers. I hate those guys so much, dude. God, they're so annoying.
Revisiting them has not been fun.
Yeah, they're so but beside the point. Zoro beats the crap out of them. He one-shots them when he finally gets his swords back. It makes no sense. He mastered 3-sword style, but when he has one sword, he can't do shit.
Yeah.
Like later on, he can do. That makes no sense. You needed to master one sword to use 2. So,
well, you know, Zoro started with 3. You see it in his flashbacks when he was in the dojo training.
Well, no, remember he started with as many as he can hold.
Well, true.
But he was mainly using dual swords when he was little.
Mm-hmm.
And then he learned how to use 3 swords in training. But I still thought it was dumb that he was just like, I can't do anything with this one sword. I can just defend. And I can barely do that. And then he gets his 3 swords.
That he's weaker. They hadn't done that before.
It's almost like Zoro has a kink for things in his mouth.
Hey, man, we ain't going there.
Because when he has a thing in his mouth, he is significantly stronger than when he doesn't.
No Diddy.
What? Hey, bro. Maybe his sensei was P. Diddy. His daughter died in some weird circumstances
that they have never mentioned.
I'm just saying. Faked her death and everything, bro. Sounds like something Diddy would do.
Hey, that's alleged. Allegedly.
You got proof that's not what happened?
You have proof that it did happen?
There's a chick that looks exactly like her.
Still, she's too old. No,
she's exactly how old.
Hey, if it
what's
come
her
out
name
that Tashigi is, but yeah,
is her name? What's her name again?
Tashigi.
No.
Kuina.
The what?
Kuina.
That's right. I keep wanting to call her something else. I keep wanting to call her like Kuna and stuff. Because her name's spelled weird. It's like Kuiana or something like that. But they're the exact same age, bro. They look exactly the same. They both use swords. But that's enough about Zoro. This isn't about Zoro. This is about Luffy. So, while he's laying asleep, Django's acting like an idiot because Django is an idiot, in case you weren't sure by the fact that he is a Michael Jackson impersonator. That's not a lie. Look it up. He looks like Michael Jackson, and he moonwalks around. He's just missing the hee. That's all he's missing.
They wouldn't do that.
So, Nami runs past Django and them to wake Luffy up. Django throws a chakram at her, and what do you know? Nami accidentally steps on Luffy's face, and wakes Luffy up, and he gets hit in the face with the said chakram because he pulls Nami out the way. Psych, I lied. He didn't get hit in the face. He caught it with his teeth like a real gangster, and then proceeds to break it with his teeth because intimidation is a real thing. So we see Luffy's like way stronger than Django. So to make sure the fight's not over immediately, Clawdor / Kuro pulls up, and it's just like, okay, what took you idiots so long? You're all gonna die now. You have 5 minutes to defeat the Straw Hats, or I'm gonna kill you all.
Precisely. Kuro really, like, it was hard to take Kuro seriously when he came out that he was a pirate. But when he started fighting, like, it became like, I really wish Kuro, like, had more to him.
I don't. The pussyfoot maneuver's stupid.
It is, though. But imagine if he, like, because he didn't have a devil fruit, did he?
No.
Bro, imagine that dude had like a devil fruit.
Look, why I just want to know what the
cooler.
Like, what the hell
like his
is
concept was pretty cool, but that
his
pussy
weapon
foot technique
was cool. I'll give you that. But the pussy move maneuver was just him skipping.
Him skipping side to side like they did.
No, in like a circle.
That's like, I know y'all done seen. I know you done seen those anime parodies with the dude standing side to side. Y'all done seen it. I can't think of that name. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's what it remind me of. Yeah. It's just like dude standing side to side and he just about to do something. But every time he do something, it's like cut somebody whole chest in, or how he tried to do to Luffy.
Or that out of the back attack. That's a stupid name.
Yeah. Like, no Diddy. No Diddy.
That name is stupid. His attack is literally this. I'm pulling the name out my ass attack. That's what it feels like.
No Diddy. But
no. When Luffy jumps up and notices Nami has an injury from Django, he's more worried about that than anything else for that split second. And that shows Luffy's cares about the health of his crew more than he cares about all the other stuff going on. Because there's talk about treasure and all this other stuff, but Luffy's mind is just like, is my girl Nami good? She good? Okay, yep. Cool. I can go kick the shit out of this guy because my homie's good, sort of thing. And then Kuro gives an entire speech to Kaya about how she's rich and doesn't deserve to be rich, and he took care of her sick butt, so he deserves all her money.
Entitled.
And she should die. And yeah, it's a dumb speech to say in front of Luffy. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
A guy that's all about don't betray people and everything. So Luffy punches Kuro in the face. And he has this line that cracks me up every time. And he says, because Kuro's freaking out and getting hit. And Luffy's just like, well, if he doesn't like getting hit, he's about to have a bad time. After he like sucker punches him. And I just love that moment. But that the speech pissed Luffy off because Luffy can't stand the idea of betraying people. He's very much so of the opinion, if you have friends, you can't betray them. You can't betray the people that look out for you.
Can't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, he's very much so. He has a weird honor system, Luffy does, but he's so entrenched in it that he refuses to go against it.
Yeah, he doesn't go against it for anything, and I think that's a great trait. Like, even every time, like, another pirate can't even say he gonna be king of the pirates around Luffy. It's like, what you say?
Well, we're gonna get into that in a minute.
Exactly.
But yeah, Luffy is very much so about that life.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't like dishonor. He's very much so deeply entrenched in his honor belief system that Shanks imparted to him. Like, he is very much so.
Symbol of that straw hat.
And then the cinematography of the shot of him walking up to face Kuro is very interesting in my opinion. It shows at first it doesn't show Luffy's face, it just shows him adjusting the straw hat, which looks sort of like the sun. It looks sort of like the straw hat from the top looks sort of like the suns you would draw when you were a little kid.
Yeah.
So the sun is the archetype of the sun and the king, and Luffy wants to be king of the pirates. So if he is the sun, an embodiment of the sun or the self, it would make sense because that's what he's after. He's after being king. So it's just a really cool shot because it shows him adjust his hat, and then he walks up the hill to face Kuro. Like, he doesn't run, but it's like he slowly rises. Like, the sun slowly rises to face the darkness, and it works really well because Kuro's in all black. So it's the sun rises to face the darkness, and it's the dude, or you could see it as like the honorable sun rises to face the dishonorable darkness, because that's like Kuro's entire
dishonorable
thing.
Darkness would be like literally one phrase to describe Kuro, because it's like everything he's doing is dishonor. Like, you took care of this lady just to get her riches. She trusted you and everything, and now you're just stabbing her in the back. And of course, that's everything that Luffy's against. But literally, dishonorable darkness, that's perfect for Kuro.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and it goes back into the Uberman thing. Is the Uberman would fall into the archetype of the sun and the king and the self, because he's supposed to be someone that goes over and beyond what it means to be a normal man. And so we can see Luffy start to become, like, he starts becoming the camel, like we talked about last week. Like, we slowly see him transition from just the kid that, like, is convinced he's going to become the king of the pirates to he's slowly starting to progress into someone that can become the king of the pirates.
we definitely see that, because you see him take on the mantle, not the mantle, but take on, like, Usopp's, like, trouble at this time. Like, just, this is our friend, you need help, we're gonna help you. It didn't even matter. Like, everything coming on for Kuro, you know, just him admitting that he was there just to sabotage Kaya. You just messed yourself up because you just made Luffy matter. Him coming out saying that he wanted to be this great pirate and it didn't work, so that's why he came over and hid under. You ain't do nothing to make Luffy even more mad, because why you turn on your own dream to literally deceive these people just to further your dream in the worst way. Like, he wouldn't do that.
He would not. And then Usopp tries to get up because Django chases after Kaya at Kuro spurring, and then they start to make fun of Usopp, and Luffy attacks the guys making fun of Usopp, because you can't, in Luffy's mind, you can't make fun of someone with heart, or like that has such a drive for life. Like, it goes against Luffy's morals, and that's like ties into the ubermensch.
Definitely see more
morals.
examples coming of that later.
Yeah, so he attacks them for attacking Usopp's morals and his heart. So he knocks out a bunch of the pirates, and then Kuro's just like, so why are you helping the village? And Luffy has I thought it was a really good line. He says, there is a man in this village that I don't want to die, being Usopp. And then Kuro's just like, well, is that worth dying for? And he says, of course it is.
But I'm not dying today.
Yeah, but I'm not going to die today. And I just thought that is great. It just shows, like, he's, for his moral framework that he has, he is 100% willing to sacrifice himself.
Yep. His safety, his well-being does not matter. All that matters is obstacle down.
Yeah, that he gets one step closer to being the king of the pirates.
Yep.
One step closer to embodying the archetype of the king. One step closer to becoming the sun. One step closer to being the ubermensch. That's all that matters. Like, he doesn't know all that extra stuff. He just knows that he's going to be king of the pirate. Like, he doesn't think he's going to be king of the pirate at this point.
He knows it.
He knows it. He knows he wants it more than anybody else. And then, after that line, Kuro attacks. He picks up a boulder, blocks Kuro's attack, breaks Kuro's claw. And then, because Kuro's, while he's attacking Luffy, complains about his, like, terrible reputation, and he hates being a pirate now because he's always being dogged by the authorities and stuff. And Luffy tells him, if you don't want a reputation, don't be a pirate. You're just greedy, Kuro. I have ambition. And then he smacks him with the rock. And that's just Luffy saying, like, don't dishonor your name. Like, if you're gonna be mad that you have a bad name, then don't do bad things.
Exactly.
Like, you can't complain that you built, like, you dug a grave. You can't complain that you have to sit in it.
Exactly. And that last part, when he says, you're just greedy, Kuro, I have ambition, is literally telling Kuro, like, every goal you've made was just to further your own greed. The goals that I'm making is from my own ambition. We are never the same. Don't compare us.
He also says at that point, I've spent my entire life preparing for this. So I spent my entire life making myself stronger for this, and so he's also calling Kuro weak.
Exactly.
Because Kuro's, like, he's pointing out the flaws in Kuro's worldview. Like, he's pointing out how weak and short-sighted it is. He's just after like, instant gratification and stuff. Like, he just wants to, like, Kuro just wants to live a peaceful life at the cost of burying a bunch of bodies.
Yeah.
But Luffy's not like that. He
not
thinks
a grave digger.
He thinks that everybody should do things the right way, and that's a great example of that. Like, if you want to have a peaceful life, then you should have earned it the correct way. Like, Luffy wouldn't have a problem if he started off being peaceful, but no, it's the fact that he murdered and pillaged all these people and then tried to have a peaceful life by killing an innocent girl. Luffy's not with that. He doesn't want any of that. He's just like, if you're going to do something, if you want a peaceful life, earn it by providing peace.
Yeah, Luffy probably would respect him more if he just got caught, went to impale down, and came back out and went crazy then.
Yeah, if he would have paid his price.
Yeah, but he didn't pay his price. He just went, he didn't like what was going on. He took a seat, then realized the fortune wasn't what he wanted, took advantage of Kaya and her family.
And then the fight keeps going on a little bit, and then Luffy hits Kuro with the big guns. He says, no matter how many hundreds of thousands of men follow you as their captain, you will never be as good as Usopp. And that basically just pisses Kuro off. Like, Kuro basically loses it at that point, because I think that's what makes him start using the out-of-the-back attack, which is such a stupid name for an attack.
No, did he?
Like, his whole thing is just he moves so fast cutting things that he can't tell what he's cutting. Like, no, that's dumb. That's a dumb explanation. Because he's not that fast in the grand scheme of things.
No, in the grand scheme of things, he really wasn't. He just was kind of shadowed a little bit to where the people couldn't see him a little bit. Yeah, is what it always felt like to me. Is maybe an old animation thing, but like,
it just doesn't really make sense after a while. But like, maybe Oda will make it make sense later. Like, it's an ancient, super ancient technique that Kuro learned called being a piece of shit. I don't know. I don't know.
I bet it.
And then Luffy hits him with the because Usopp's got heart. Because Kuro's like, what the hell does that mean? And Luffy hits him with, well, Usopp has heart. You don't. You're just a heartless douchebag. He doesn't say it in those words. That's just me translating Luffy for y'all, because I am fluent in Luffy. After that, it just shows that Luffy refuses to be dishonorable. He basically becomes a perfect embodiment of Shanks' moral framework, because he agrees with like all the how Shanks lived in the earlier stuff, and he's just basically taking that onto himself because he wants to be just like Shanks because he thinks Shanks is the best person, and it turns out later on Shanks is one of the better people, so it's not a bad person to look up to. Like Shanks is one of the few good pirates, or Shanks' crew is like the only good pirate crew besides like Luffy and Laws and stuff like that. But like, it's not a what's it called? Like Luffy's not helping because he wants to be the good guy. He's helping because he like wants to reward someone that has great heart, just like Shanks would have.
Big facts. Shanks, OP, GOAT. If it ain't for Shanks, Luffy go around killing everybody.
Well, I don't know if he kills everybody. He's just not who he is now. Like Shanks
is a big part of like Luffy's personality. Like even early on, even later.
Because he met him when he was like 5. Because what's it called? I think he's 6 when he shows up to what's her name?
Fuchsia Village, Makamo, I think.
When he shows up with the bandits, when he first joins the bandits, or goes to live with the bandits, I think he's like 6, because Ace is 2 years older than him, right?
Right.
And I think Ace is 8. It's in that time frame. I don't remember the exact ages, but it just shows you that Luffy hates dishonorable behavior. And he hates Kuro because Kuro's all about dishonorable behavior.
Like to a T.
And it shows off like how Luffy's idea of what a pirate should be is different from other people's version of a pirate. Because like other people's version of pirates, they pillage, they rape, they kill, they do all this stuff. But not Luffy. He just wants his pirates to be honorable. He thinks that's how all pirates should be because it's disrespectful not to be. He thinks the killing and stuff like that is pointless, and it shows off really well with the Kuro stuff. That's how he feels. And then, while he's beating the crap out of Kuro, there's no easy way to say it. He's just absolutely dominating Kuro in the fight. Like, even the... No, they don't actually explain why Luffy knows where he is. It's just, he just does. Because Luffy's got that dog in him, I guess. I don't know. But... he's beating the crap out of Kuro, like our fight. That should just tell you like how out of his depth Kuro is. But the Black Cat pirates start cheering for Luffy because they realize if Kuro wins, they're all gonna die. And Luffy just turns around and says, "You have no right to cheer for me," because Luffy doesn't care if he's getting cheered on. He only cares if you're cheering on for the right reasons. They're only cheering him on because they don't want to die. They're not cheering Luffy on because they have faith in Luffy. They're not cheering Luffy on because they think he's good. They're not cheering him on for any of the reasons that Luffy would appreciate, like because of his heart and him not giving up or anything like that. No, they're just
for their own personal salvation.
And so it shows off Luffy cares that the reason was right more than the thing you're doing is right. Like it just shows he cares more about how you play the game and not that the game's played.
Yeah.
You know, like he doesn't care he doesn't care win or lose. He just cared if you played it fairly. Which I thought like just raised his character up a little bit. And then Luffy hits Kuro with this line that's pretty cold actually. The only time a pirate should abandon his name is when he dies.
We see that. We definitely see that.
Luffy turns to the Black Cat pirates and says, "I would never lose to a coward who ditches his name, betrays his friends, and runs from a life on the sea." So, yeah, Luffy's just eviscerating.
And it's just like, it go deep now because you think about everything Luffy stand for, if you know, like, of course we're going to tell you, but Luffy wanted to be in the sea for a long time, and hearing somebody run away from the life that he strived for is almost like you pissed on his character at that point.
Well, also, he doesn't run away from it. It's he created a terrible life on the sea and then refuses to eat what he or reap what he sows. also. Because, like, to be a pirate, like, it's going to be a dangerous life. It's going to be all this stuff. And it's your fault that it's a dangerous thing. So when you're not willing to eat your comeuppance because you made it suck, Luffy wants absolutely none of that. He's going to make sure you know that you made a terrible decision. Like, he calls him a coward that ditches his name, because to Luffy his name matters, like your name should matter to you, just like with the ubermensch would. Like, he stands on his principles. Luffy stands on his principles. Yep. The betrays his friends. Luffy would never betray his friends. Like, there's gonna be an entire arc that we're gonna cover next week about how anti-betraying friends Luffy is.
So you probably won't
like
see
when
some
we
of
get
that
to Arlong. I'm talking when we get to Arlong, because it really shows how he feels about his friend, like how much his friends matter to him. And then run from a life on the sea. You could see it as he's running from a life filled with chaos. So if you're going to become the ubermensch, you have to run to a life of chaos. Because you could see the sea in the story as a metaphor for the primordial sea of life. You know, like the thing where everything comes from. It's where all life comes from also, is the sea in real life. Like, that's where life started, and it came out of the sea over like millions of years. So the metaphor works that a pirate needs to love the chaos where things come from. So if you're a coward that runs away from that after you sowed so much destruction and death, like Luffy would never lose to that, because it proves that you have no heart. And it's just Luffy's proving that he has way more heart than Kuro could ever hope to have, just like the ubermensch would. He'd be an unstoppable, almost force of nature when it comes to his morals.
Bro, it's so crazy you mentioned that Sanji's right after this. Like, you just kind of blew my mind a little bit when you did that comparison. Like, when you did the sea is the life, and it creates all life and holds all life, and saying Kuro running away from that is just like the ultimate disgust. Having Sanji's dream right after this, bro, we finna get to it. God,
yeah,
dog,
and his dream is
that's cold.
Yeah.
Bro, that's cold right there. That's cold. I like that.
And so Luffy hits him with a crazy headbutt. He gets him in like gets Kuro in like an almost body triangle. No, actually, it's one, but it's like modified by the fact that he's rubber. So he wraps his hands around his arms so he can't use his arms to attack him. And then Luffy stretches his head all the way to the coast.
Yep.
And then smacks Kuro with the headbutt.
I
think he calls it Gum Gum Bell. Yeah. Because he's ringing his bell.
Yep.
And knocks, like, it completely flattens Kuro out. Like, Kuro's done. Like, fight's
Somebody
over.
get him a pillow and a blanket. That boy's sleeping. He dreaming.
Nah, Luffy was just showing him how to fold his laundry with him still in it. That's all it was. And it just shows, like, Luffy helping them, that the only reason he wanted to help Usopp is because Usopp was willing to help himself. Like, it just keeps coming back to that point. And then as soon as the fight's done, Luffy passes out, and you think it's because he's exhausted, but no, it's because he's hungry.
Yep.
Like, he immediately wakes up when Nami starts talking to him, and he's just like, I want meat.
Yep.
And then it cuts to Usopp and Sanji, or not Sanji, you got me thinking Sanji, Zoro. They save Kaya. Pepper, Carrot, and Onion are there too in supporting roles. But, yep, Django gets shot in the face with the slingshot, and it's hilarious. Then they send the Black Cat Pirates packing. Mary made a really dope ship for him called the Going Mary. Give it to him. They try to leave, or Usopp's just like, I'm gonna leave by myself.
Yep.
And they're just like, what the hell do you think you're doing? Dude, get in the fucking ship.
Get in the boat, boy.
Get in the boat.
Get in the boat.
You don't have a choice in this matter.
Get in the boat.
You're already a straw hat.
What you talking about? You going somewhere? You already a straw hat. No inauguration. Get in this boat right now.
Or that fight was the inauguration. That's him getting hazed in. Have you noticed everyone's got a fight that they get hazed into joining the straw hats? There's always a fight.
For the most part.
And it's just like, oh, cool. You can fight? Cool. You win.
Yep.
Instant handshake. But after that, Kaya's sitting on the bank watching them sail away, I guess is the correct word. And she hits us with the quote, "They said they were fighting to live, not to die. Usopp's wild stories and outlandish lies always spoke to the joy of being alive. They helped me through my grief by cheering me up and telling me to live." So it's just a reinforcement of what we were saying earlier of the reason Luffy got attached to Usopp is because Usopp has an unquenchable thirst for life. And that's what the ubermensch is supposed to have. Whoops. The ubermensch is supposed to have an unquenchable drive for life. Like he's supposed to be 100% about life, not like making life all it can be. And like Usopp might lie and stuff, and we learn the reason that he lies is because when he was a kid, his dad went away, and he wanted his mom to see his dad before his mom died. So he would because she got sick, so he would always come running through the village yelling, "Pirates are coming! Pirates are coming!"
Keep the life.
That way his mom wouldn't pass away. That way she would hold on to her strength to see her husband again. And it's actually funny because his dad, Usopp, is a member of Shanks' crew. He's got a hat that says Usopp on it, or Usopp.
Yasop.
Oh, that's how you say it, Yasop. But yeah, he's a member of Shanks' crew too. It's a nice little parallel there to show like how similar the two guys are.
Both are snipers. I don't know if Yasop's Shanks like dedicated sniper.
No, it's
Ben Beckman.
He has a different dedicated sniper. I can't remember the dude's name. Yeah. He shows it off at Marineford when he shows up.
Yeah, we put that thing right on there, boy. We'll get there. There.
That's like 12 weeks away probably. So right after that, we get Luffy designing his pirate mark, and he just settles on a Jolly Roger with his signature straw hat on it, and you could see it as, because it fits really well, when in about 5 weeks we're gonna see the sun ship. So it fits real well when you think about it. The mark is because the straw hat looks sort of like a sun, symbolizes that he's the mark of the sun, the mark of the king, the mark of the self, which is the mark of the ubermensch when you think about it. So his is just a normal Jolly Roger with the mark of the ubermensch, the mark of the sun, the mark of the king. It's the signal that he's the future pirate king, if you look at it in a metaphorical lens, which is a very interesting thing.
Which is more important when you think about it, not just the birth of the straw hat, but the birth of the ubermensch happens when Usopp writes that Jolly Roger, when he draws that Jolly Roger.
Or it's more so, I'd say it's where he becomes the camel.
Okay.
Because that's the start of his metamorphosis.
It's like, because he sees it now. Like, once you see that Jolly Roger, that's like his whole identity in the world now. It's like, okay, y'all fly under this flag, I got y'all.
So, yeah, it's like him saying, since, like, y'all are under my flag, I take your dreams as my own sort of thing. Because if I get my dream, y'all get y'all's dream.
Big facts.
And so they go to Treasure Island. After that, they meet a dude trapped in a treasure chest named Gaimon, who's a pretty cool dude. And then Gaimon's dream is to see what's in the boxes that are stuck like on a cliff that he can't get to. So Luffy checks it out for him. And Luffy acts like a bad guy when he gets up there. And his crew's mad at him, and Gaimon's just like, Luffy, you're such a good guy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And they're all confused. But it's the treasure chests were actually empty. It's just Luffy refused to destroy Gaimon's dream. He wanted Gaimon to keep thinking there was something up there, which just shows that Luffy doesn't like the idea of someone destroying another person's dream. It goes against what he feels. He doesn't like the idea of someone betraying someone else's dream. It's just not something Luffy can let slide, which I think is a really good character moment for him. It shows that he, like, since he values his dream so much and he doesn't want anyone to crush his dreams, he won't do it to somebody else
at all. And it's like we see that going forward with everybody. Like, he won't even let you default on your own dreams, and we definitely gonna talk about that.
And then we get to the BRTA. I think Baratie, yeah. So they show up. There's a, for lack of a better word, massive douchebag, Marine lieutenant.
Full body
bitch. Lieutenant full body bitch. He's just like, yo, dogs, attack the ship while I take my side piece to go get food at the sea restaurant Baratie. Luffy does the Luffy thing and makes him. So, to pay for the damage, old home dude named Zeph.
Chef Zeph.
Yo, it rhymes.
For a reason.
It's just like, yeah, well, you're going to have to work all this damage off. You're going to be stuck here for at least a year. Luffy's just like, God damn it.
2 weeks.
2 weeks? No. 1 week? No. And he keeps trying to make it just 1 week. So he's just like, guys, look like we're stuck here for at least a week. Get used to it. And then we meet this blonde dude with a bad attitude. I wonder who he's going to be. He's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and everything.
Sanji.
And we see his first interaction with Full Body. And Full Body's just like, yo, there's a fly in my soup. And he's just like, you put it there. And Sanji's just like, do I look like an amateur to you? I didn't put that there. That had to get there while you had it. Like, you had to put the fly there or let the fly get in your soup because it didn't happen when I had it. So, what's your problem? Full Body starts talking crap. Sanji backs up the crap he talked. Beats the crap out of Full Body. Like, picks him up by the jaw, not the neck. It's super disrespectful. Picks him up by the jaw. Holds him up in the air. It's just like, don't disrespect my cooking, punk. And you're just like, okay, this dude's kind of cool. I fuck with Sanji fully, sort of thing. You're just like, your eyebrows look dumb, but other than we learned that Sanji, we can't really call him a womanizer because womanizer, it implies they have game. Sanji has no game. He's just a fucking simp. Like, Sanji could not exist in a world with OnlyFans. He'd go broke in 2 days. You know that's true. Sanji go broke in 2 days. OnlyFans is his kryptonite, dog. But so we meet Sanji. We meet the other members of the ship, of the Baratier's crew. Luffy's just like, dude, Sanji's dope. I'm gonna make him join my crew. And Sanji's just like, no, you little gremlin. Fuck off. And then this dude named Gin breaks out of Full Body's custody, shows up starving, and he's just like, hey, bro.
He ain't eating forever.
Please let me eat.
And Sanji has this thing where it's like he lets nobody in his vicinity go hungry.
Yeah, he refuses to let anybody starve. I wonder if that's from his backstory. So, he feeds Gin. Gin's just like, thank you, I'm so thankful. Thank you for saving my life. He does. Look at his face again if you don't believe me. But he looks like a monkey pedophile. Like a gorilla cross with a pedophile. You see it, don't you?
Yeah.
That's like the best way I can describe what he looks like. Is he looks like a gorilla did the fusion dance with a pedophile. And you know what a pedophile looks like. It looks like Drago. I'm just kidding. But He goes, gets Don Krieg, tells Don Krieg this place fed me. Maybe they'll feed you too. They show up in a completely destroyed, dilapidated ship. Like, absolutely jacked up ship. Everyone's like, what happened here, sort of thing. But Don Krieg comes in, begs for food. They feed him. Don Krieg turns out, oh no, the pirate captain's really a bad guy. Who could have thunk it? Sort of thing happens. Like, I never saw that coming. And so Don Krieg tries to steal the Baratier and explains that their ship was attacked by Hawkeye and Mihawk. Zoro's just like, Hawkeye and Mihawk.
No, I don't think it goes that far yet.
No, they say it was attacked by the man with Hawkeyes, and so they assume that it could only be Mihawk. Like, they don't say the name Mihawk, but the description of the person could only be Mihawk, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's only one thing it could be. So everyone's just like, okay, it's got to be Mihawk. I can think of that's strong enough and that has eyes like that and that uses a sword, sort of thing. And Zoro's just like, my eternal rival. And Zoro sounds like a weeaboo that learned about, like, lightsabers for the first time. You know? Like he was talking like how Kaiba talks about Yugi, but he's going to get folded in a few minutes like laundry. Krieg gets filled up, attacks Sanji, lays him out, and he's just like, I'm going to take over this ship. I'm going to take this food to my crew. They're going to eat. We're going to take this ship, and then we're going to kill all y'all, and then we're going back to the Grand Line. And Luffy hears about the Grand Line. He's just like, wow, that place sounds awesome when everyone else is terrified. And it's kind of funny because it just shows that he thinks it's cool. So Luffy fights Krieg. Not because Krieg is a bad guy, mind you. It's because Krieg claims he's going to be the king of the pirates. Which it makes it funny. Because Luffy's just like, nope, that's my dream. You can't have it.
Can't
only one person.
In front of Luffy say they're going to be the king of the pirates. It's up immediately.
I love that. He's just like, okay, cool. Are we going to trade hands to decide who's going to be king of the pirates? Or are you just going to stop saying that, Don Krieg? Don Krieg's just like, what are you talking about? And Luffy's just like, I'm assuming that means fight. And so they fight. And it's not, Luffy doesn't fold Don Krieg, but like it's weird, like that it feels overly written to make Don Krieg seem like he's more of a threat than he really is. But first, Pearl shows up. Pearl's annoying.
Hold up.
Huh?
Getting ahead of yourself there.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. So before Pearl shows, there's something important that happens before Pearl shows up. Nami leaves with the Baratier with the going Mary. That's important. Cause look, hear me out.
No, I thought that happened after Pearl showed up because
before. Because remember, Gin has to. Because Pearl doesn't show up till Gin like basically says he's done. Like he's not. Because Don Krieg tells Gin to kill Zeph, and because it's the earliest betrayal we see. Because Gin says, I can't kill him, he gave me food, so I won't kill him, but instead I'll kill Chore Boy and the cook. And that's when Don Krieg sentences Gin to death. And in the middle of that, that's when Mihawk shows up. In the middle of that.
Yeah, but
part.
no, remember Pearl shows up, does the whole thing. Zeph kicks the wind off the pearl, like all the fire off the pearls, and then the mast falls on top of Pearl's head, knocks him out, and then that happens when Pearl wakes back up. Because remember, Sanji starts to fight Pearl. The mast that Luffy breaks smashes Pearl on the head. Pearl wakes up. Sanji Pearl fights, and then Ging defeats Pearl later on. And then Sanji and Ging fight.
But Mihawk shows up in the middle of all that.
Yeah, it's like in between the Pearl getting knocked out by the thing, because you find out Pearl's a big baby.
Yeah, we find out Pearl can't do nothing. Like, Pearl's like, he got all that defense, but he can't.
But he got no off it.
But he ain't got no offense
and then, like,
at all.
But the reason that's important is because when Nami takes the Going Merry, he sends Usopp and Zoro off.
Yep.
But Mihawk shows up in this almost the same time that happens.
Yeah.
Well, not that it's the same time we find out about it.
Yeah.
Because Johnny and
Yosuke
are the ones that tell us.
The thing that was interesting about it was Johnny and Yosuke, because when they first told Luffy that she took the Merry, they were telling Luffy, "Oh, y'all should just leave her and get a new boat." And Luffy's like, "No, like, she's the only person that's gonna be the navigator of my crew." And that's when he told Zoro and Usopp to go get her.
But then when he tells her to go get her, the big thing there is Mihawk shows up and Luffy's just like, he doesn't chastise Zoro for saying, "I'll go after that later." It's Zoro has the chance to achieve his dream, and Luffy's just like, "Oh shit, my boy's got a chance to do it."
It goes so deep because in that fight, like, Cannon, would you? That's one of my favorite lines. Like, I love that. But when Zoro started getting beat, you can hear Yosuke and them saying, "No, he's going to get beat," to the point where they both jump in the fight and Luffy grabs both of them and said, "No, you will not interfere." And it's because he understands Zoro's honor that much. Like, I don't even think it's been mentioned in that story, but he knows that if he lets them join that fight, Zoro will never forgive him because he doesn't want any help.
Well,
like,
Luffy understands that everyone in his crew have a dream they want to achieve as much as he wants to achieve his dream.
Exactly. And one of the traits of the ubermensch that was mentioned is when he finds his companions would want to follow him because they want to, not because the other way around. He wants them to follow them. And he understands that they all have a dream that they want to fulfill. So, of course, Zoro's seeing Mihawk. Nah, he gotta fight him. Like, this gotta happen. And it's crazy.
This is his chance.
It's crazy because Mihawk just had messed up Krieg's ships
with one strike.
Yeah, with one strike. And he had just did that. Both of them are from the place that Luffy is trying to go, which I thought that was interesting. Both of them are from the Grand Line. They had just come there. So it's like their first time seeing an example of what strength looks like in the Grand Line. I'd say allegedly, because to me, Krieg wasn't all that.
Well, no, remember, Krieg's from the East Blue. He just went to the Grand Line, and in 1 week they got destroyed. And we learned from Mihawk that the East Blue is the weakest of the 4 oceans. Yep. And they're like significantly weaker. Yep. Like not even close. That's what Mihawk explained. He's just like, you've been defeating pirates from the weakest sea. Like, that's not something to brag about. Like, that's not special. Like, like the greatest swordsman in the East Blue is like being the smartest kid on the short bus. Like, cool. Like, congratulations, I guess. Sort of thing. It's like how Mihawk says it. He's like, congrats or something. Like, yeah. Like, he's just like, that doesn't mean anything. But Luffy lets Zoro attempt to live out his dream, which just shows like how much Luffy is about his dream if he's willing to potentially sacrifice part of it for his crewmen to get a piece of his dream. But like, Zoro gets absolutely trounced, and Luffy's not mad at him. Luffy's actually like worried that Mihawk killed him, so Luffy gets mad. But what's his name? Zoro drops a line that I love in his fight. He's like, "What are you doing?" He drops the line, "Scars on the back are a swordsman's shame." And so Mihawk gives him like a deep gash with his actual sword. And Mihawk's just like, he's going to be a strong one someday. Make sure he doesn't die and everything. And then Luffy attacks Mihawk because he thinks Zoro's dead. Turns out Zoro's not dead. And Zoro makes a promise to Luffy that he'll never lose another fight. And he he tells everyone there that he's 100% convinced Luffy's going to be the king of the pirates, that Luffy's going to be the ubermensch, because he says, does that sound good to you, king of the pirates?
Yep.
And everything.
And it's crazy because also what I got from that fight, because they both spitting out both of their dreams, from Luffy and Zoro being the first two of the Straw Hats to basically exist.
Yeah, they are.
And they both throwing their dreams around. To me, this symbolizes how deep are you willing to go to achieve your dreams. Because Zoro knew. I don't think Zoro went in that fight like thinking it was going to be easy. He knew it was going to be hard. He just didn't think it was that hard.
Yeah,
he didn't think their skill. He didn't think their skill was that far. So you get in there and he knows this. Of course, he does lose. But to come back out of that and say, I'm never losing again until I beat this dude. That's hard, man. Like they about to get in the grand line, both of them throwing their individual dreams around, and you see just how far that they still need to go in order to get where they need to be. And then the symbolism is just there. Like, it really, really throws it to the top for me.
And then shortly after Zoro's declaration, Zeph says, I've heard a lot of people say they're going to be king of the pirates, but that Luffy kid's the first person I can see actually achieving it. Because it turns out Zeph was actually a competitor for a title of king of the pirates. He was Redfoot Zeph that was so good at kicking that his boots would turn red from the blood of his enemies. That's so stupid.
That's how they explained it.
But he lived on the Grand Line for years, and we get a little bit of his backstory. And the reason he became a chef is because he was the crew's cook when he was a captain, because he just liked cooking. But long story short, he jumps a ship because of he's a pirate. Jumps the ship Sanji's on. Sanji's just like, y'all aren't going to stop me from living my dream. Y'all aren't going to stop me from seeing the all blue. I'll take you all down with me as like a little kid. And Zeph respected him enough, because turns out Zeph's dream is to see the all blue too. That when the ship gets capsized and his leg gets stuck when he tries to save kid Sanji, he cuts his own leg off and drags Sanji to this little island that they can't get off of. And he gives Sanji a little bit of food and is just like, make sure this lasts, because we're probably going to die here. And that's why Sanji and Zeph refuse to let people go hungry. It's because they almost starved to death on an island for their dream. That's another thing. It's because they refused. The reason they were able to survive after starving is because they refused to give up on their dream. They survived for the sake of their dream, which is very poetic in my opinion.
What's also poetic that I noticed from that conversation that Luffy and Zeph had, when Luffy asked him when he first started if he used to be a pirate, and Zeph tells him he doesn't think about the past and he's the head chef of the Baratie now. And right after that is when Luffy just jumps and says, okay, jumps, and now he's finna go fight Don Krieg again. And what it feels like he's doing now is that as soon as he heard Zeph say, because I feel like when he asked him if he was a pirate, it's like almost the equivalent of asking him what his dream was. So for him to come out and say, oh, I don't think about the past, I'm the head chef of the Baratie now, it's like, okay, so this your dream now. Okay. And he jumps, and now it's the fight, and it's so captivating.
Remember, before the fight starts, right before Krieg uses the poison gas, and we have the character moment with Gin where Luffy's just like, oh shit, I'm gonna die, and then it cuts to black and it appears there's a mask next to Luffy, and Gin's like holding Sanji down with the mask on.
Yep, he forced it because he wanted to die. Like, he felt like he had dishonored his captain so bad that the only way he could make amends for it was dying.
Yeah, dying for his captain.
Don Krieg shot that gas, and Luffy threw Sanji and Gin the mask. And Luffy was like, dang, I don't have a mask, what he's gonna do, and you see it get shot. Gin done put Luffy, like, threw the mask to Luffy. We didn't know who threw it, but Gin threw his mask and forced the other mask on Sanji. And this is actually the earliest, like, side switch. Like, Luffy done captivated somebody from the other side to, you know, join somewhat, because it really wasn't joining at that point. Like, Gin just defected a little bit.
But it's not that he defected, it's that he saw that Luffy's way of thinking is better than Don Krieg's, so he couldn't let Luffy and Code die.
Yeah,
it's like,
but he also felt Don Krieg was so powerful that he couldn't stop him because of how powerful he thought Don Krieg was. Because that's something he always mentioned. Like, nobody will beat Don Krieg, and Don Krieg is unbeatable. Nobody can stop him.
Well, a lot of that's just his faith in his captain is unshakable.
Yeah.
But the reason he's like on, like, Luffy has shown repeatedly that his way of thinking is much better. That his moral framework is much better than Don Krieg's, and they'll get into it a little bit more in their fight. But Luffy tells Gin that you can't die because that'll let Krieg win. And so they do some pseudo-doctoring on him. It's not really doctoring, it's just they put the mask back on him.
Right after that, that's actually when we find out from the other crew just how important Gin was in them even escaping the Grand Line and getting back. So, of course, this makes Luffy mad because you find out that Gin put himself up as like a decoy so the Marines could chase him so the ships could get away. Then you look at how the restaurant gave them food and they still turned around and tried to take the ship. And they also wanted Zeph's logbook because Zeph had his logbook of his journeys through the Grand Line that also Don Krieg wanted to get back. And all this, when you put it together, just makes Luffy mad. Like, all that, yeah, that ain't gonna fly. That ain't gonna fly.
Yeah, and then so he attacks Don Krieg, and he doesn't immediately start putting the work on Don Krieg like you would think. Don Krieg starts, instead of shooting bullets, he starts shooting metal spikes at Luffy because he noticed the bullets weren't working.
And he going.
So he gets shot a couple times, and he throws up a cape covered in spikes. Luffy does not give a fuck. Punches him through the spikes in the face, so he gets all cut up. And Don Krieg keeps pulling out
new
more
weapons every time. It's some new kind of weapon. Like, next, I think he pulls out the spear that he put his shield on with the guns, but he got it as a spear. And Luffy's fighting that. I think he punches the head like five times to break it.
We see the Luffy's like losing too much blood, like his knees start to get weak.
With the spikes, he snatched them out and started losing a bunch of blood.
And so he starts fighting Krieg, and it kind of shows like the big thing that like the fight with Kuro showed that like the point of view, like the way of thinking of being honorable versus dishonorable. If you can look at the Krieg fight as Luffy's way of thinking of not using people versus Krieg's thing of using people as tools, and Luffy doesn't think you should do that and Krieg does. You could see it as a metaphor there, because the ubermensch isn't supposed to use his disciples. He's just supposed to help his disciples. He's not supposed to use them.
Yeah.
And that's a good parallel in this fight. Is it's Don Krieg, since he uses so many tools and he uses people as tools to do his bidding. Luffy doesn't even entertain that aspect.
And Zeph chimes in on that because he says, "Yeah, Don Krieg has the hundreds of men. He has all these weapons, but what he has that our chore boy don't is heart." Like,
or what our chore
boy has that he does in his heart.
Yeah.
Like, he has more heart than Don Krieg could ever want. And you see that. Like, bruh, as soon as that man punched that blade cape, I was like, boy, you crazy. Bruh, ain't no way. Boy, something wrong with you. You really just punched blades. And I'm talking about hurt, bro.
Big spikes, too. They're like the entire segment of your finger big.
Yeah, and he really did that. Got back up and said, I ain't hit no bell. Let's keep going. And it get even crazier. Like, just think about like, and before I even get into that, Zeph is telling Sanji this whole time, like, watch him. and how he fight. Don't take your eyes off him at all. And that was right before the heart line. But
well, he doesn't tell Sanji. He's thinking, Sanji, please watch.
He tells him too. He tells him too. Like, he thinks it, then he comes back and tells him. Like, towards when it gets towards the end. But
yeah,
like,
once the like spear part comes,
yeah.
But at first he's just like, Sanji, I hope you watch this and understand.
Yeah.
And then Don Krieg pulls out the spear that's supposed to weigh over a ton, but it doesn't. It doesn't. I hate to break it to everybody, but it doesn't weigh over a ton. That has to be just it weighs a lot. Because if it weighs a ton, it completely breaks the power scaling of the universe for later on. But yeah. So it's a spear that explodes every time he hits something. He hits Luffy with it 4 times.
Yep.
And Luffy gets back up, all Randy Marsh style. I didn't hear no bell. And on the 5th hit, it breaks. And he's just like, what happened? Luffy's just like, I punched it.
I just hit it in the head 5 times.
Luffy's just like, I punched it. What? Yeah, every time you did that, I punched it. And so Don Krieg starts getting mad. Luffy starts fucking him up because he had Don Krieg's armor is called like Woot Steel or something like that, and it's supposed to be unbreakable. But Luffy was just like, how unbreakable?
Yeah.
So it starts cracking. Don Krieg starts losing his confidence.
That's when he starts like getting antsy. I think that's when they have that like air tussle when Luffy hits him with the rocket and shatters the whole core. And in that same instance when he shatters, I got him, and he shoots a net at Luffy. And it's in this moment that Zeph's looking at Luffy and he's like, oh, I know what's up. Oh, Luffy don't fear nothing. Oh, that boy understand that when he fighting, that boy ain't afraid of nothing.
And he has an unwavering heart.
Yeah, and Sanji notices it because when Krieg shoots Luffy with that net, and Luffy's like, I got him where I want him, and kicks his arms and legs out of the net, Sanji says he didn't even flinch. Like, this man just shot a whole net at him, and bro didn't even flinch. Yeah, and Luffy spins his legs and basically slams him. And one thing that I liked about this was Luffy is a devil fruit user. He is like fighting over water like he just forgot he can't swim. He get hit with that net, I got him right where I want him. Literally slams him over to the side and falls in the ocean with a smile on his face. Like he didn't even care that he was drowning.
I don't even think that he didn't know or didn't care. I think it's just that showing Don Krieg that his way of thinking that you can use people to do your bidding is inferior to the doing it the way you're supposed to, doing stuff correctly. Like, that's a big thing with Luffy is, like, how you do it matters just as much as you did it. And that's, like, a recurring thing with Luffy. He's like, you got to do it the correct way or you might as well not do it. And Don Krieg trying to sully the name of those wanting to be the Pirate King, I don't think Luffy gave a crap that he was over water. I think it just also reinforces his point more.
That's also like a trait of the ubermensch, being able to do that stuff and without regard for your own personal well-being. Like, that's not a factor for him. That's what, like, I got from that. Like, he didn't even think, or maybe he didn't care. I'll say he didn't care. He didn't care that he was over the water because I think he had trust in Sanji or whoever that somebody will come get him.
I don't think he actually had trust anyone was going to come get him. I think he was confident enough that his point would have been made, that he won the fight no matter what, so he didn't care if he died. Which is very ubermensch.
I can see that.
Trademarking that word, by the way. Ubermensch.
I can definitely see that. And Sanji dives in the sea to save Luffy, and like, I thought that was a good, like, initiation for Sanji. Like, diving into the deepest depths of the water. Of course, he didn't even think about the fact that he couldn't breathe or how far down he was. But he went down there to get his captain, get his leader. And I thought that was pretty good. And right after he did, he says, quote, once your heart is set and you pursue all your dreams with every last fiber of what you are, you will never again feel lost or hopeless or afraid. And Gin said he learned this from Luffy, like in everything he just did against Don Krieg. And that is ubermensch.
Yeah, bro.
As Corrupted said, ubermensch. We're going to be using that a lot.
So he basically just said the basic thing that the ubermensch, like he just learned the basic thing that you're supposed to learn from the ubermensch from Luffy. Like Luffy hasn't completed his journey in becoming the ubermensch, but he's well on his way now. Like he's officially on his way. He's no longer just the kid with the dream. He's
making
the
waves.
camel.
He is becoming the camel. He in there. And one thing, I like Gin for the fact of him saying of what he learned, kind of put that icing on the cake of how really ubermensch this arc was with the Baratier. And we see that even more because right after this is when now it's time for Luffy to try to pull Sanji on the crew. And of course, that's when the whole crew start mocking his cooking and saying that he can't cook in order to get him to leave. But one thing that was really interesting is when Sanji storms out of the room, Zeph's like, yeah, I can't make him leave, but hey, Chore Boy, can you go and take him with you on your ship? Because he needs to get to the Grand Line. That'll be good for him. And Luffy literally says, I've already tried. Like, I won't take him if he doesn't want to come. And that comes right back to the teachings in the ubermensch, because when the ubermensch is looking for his comrades, they only follow because they want to and nothing else. Like, he's not making them come. So him telling Zeph, it's like, I'm not going to make him come if he doesn't want to. And in that same conversation is when they let it out that they were lying, and Sanji's right at the door and he hears everything. So it all kind of worked out, but that's real trait in the ubermensch, is not bringing people because you want them to come, is because they want to follow, which also brings their dreams and stuff, because he wants their dreams to be achieved just like his own.
And then we get to them going after Nami.
One more thing before we go to the after Nami. Zeph also offered Luffy his logbook, and he turned it down, realizing that he don't want no shortcuts.
Well, also, it's not just shortcuts. It's he doesn't want it just because of shortcuts. It's also he doesn't want it because he believes that the king of the pirates should find all that stuff out
on his own. Yeah.
Like, you're not really the king of the pirates if someone else had to give you a guide to do it. That's not just like the ubermensch. Like, there's no guide to be the ubermensch. Right. You either about it or you're not.
Facts.
So, like, that's how Luffy sees it. He doesn't want to follow anybody else's guide that they laid out for him. He wants to just make his own way. And that's what turning down the logbook. Also, the logbook is very important to Zep, which is another reason Luffy doesn't want it. Because the reason he refuses to give it away is because he sees the logbook as called Arlong Park, ruled by Arlong. Arlong's voiced by Mr. Torg and Hercule. So, pretty cool voice. And this is where the show has an entire arc about the evils of racism. Arlong Park is just a metaphor for racism. So, so buckle up. Here we go. Controversial topics time. Racism and ubermensch in the same sentence. Probably not a good one, but let's go for it. So, they go after her. Zoro gets captured pretty quick because he's still effed up. But it doesn't matter. He's going to escape and beat everybody up. Minus the big four in the group. But Nami's from... How do you say your island name again?
Kokoyashi.
Kokoyashi Island. She grows tangerines. Or her mother grew tangerines. Her adopted mom grew tangerines. And her sister grows tangerines still. And so, did you know tangerines are symbols of hope? in certain Asian cultures. In Chinese culture, it's a representation of luck because the Mandarin word for tangerine is almost the same as the word for luck, and it means rejuvenation in a couple other Asian cultures. And I just thought that was interesting. And the color tangerine is seen as like a joy-bringing color, which fits really well into the story because of what's about to happen in Arlong Park. Like, it just fits. Like, Luffy's going to rejuvenate all these people. He's going to bring luck, and he's going to end a cycle of violence. He's going to be the hope to this little tangerine plantation island. So I just thought it was like something should bring up because I didn't expect that when I looked it up, and I thought it was very interesting and something everyone should know since we're talking about like the metaphors and stuff in One Piece. It just seemed like something that mattered. And so they're there. We learn a little bit about Nami's backstory. We learn that Arlong's a massive dick. That, like, I don't really know another way to describe.
Like, Arlong really, like, he got I want to say, like, a supremacy complex or something.
This should be, he racist.
Yeah. I mean, for the simpler terms, yeah, he racist. Boy really think Fishman over everything. Like, and it's crazy because this is like the first outer race was introduced to up in One Piece that I can think
he
of
literally gives the argument of you see they have this extra dot in their skull for fucking Django, dude. Like, that's how far along Arlong is in the shit. But he's like, it's cool, I got one human friend, so I'm not racist. Points at Nami.
Yep.
Because it turns out Nami's actually been a member of the Arlong Pirates, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, the entire time. But it turns out that she's really only a member of it because she's trying to buy her village's freedom. And she can only do that as a member of the Arlong Pirates. That's the only way they'll let her do it. So she has to save 100 million berries to buy the island from them. So... Which, the math doesn't math there if you think about it. Because every month, everyone on her island has to pay Arlong 50,000 berries.
Mm-hmm.
So, just some...
It looks like 100 for adults and 50 for each child.
Well, that was the first time. I could have sworn it was...
I couldn't tell you.
So, let's just say 50,000, right? So, that's 600,000 a year. He's been doing it for 8 years. Right? He is really overvaluing the village.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would take Nami 20 years. 20 more years to... Or, like, it would take 20 more years because he's been there for 8. Like, he's made approximately 4.8 billion berries in those 8 years. But that's per person, actually. So actually Arlong is really undervaluing the place, because all it needs is 25 people there. There's more than 25 people in the village, and he's already made way over 100 million.
Like way over 100 million.
So, like, that should have told you from way back when that he may or may not keep that promise. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I assume everyone that's watching has already at least seen past where we are.
Hopefully. Yeah, definitely, hopefully.
But also, there's a big, like, a thing that I really liked is that, like, Nami offers to explain herself and why, like, what happened, or Nami's sister offers to explain, like, what happened with Nami, and Luffy doesn't care. He's just like, nope, she's still my navigator. She doesn't need to explain herself. I don't need anyone to explain it. She's still going to be my navigator. I don't care.
Which
and he
goes
just walks
back
away and goes to sleep.
Yeah, which literally it goes back to him literally saying he's not giving up because Nami has voiced what she wants to do with her life for her dream at this point to Luffy. And when you first hear it, it's like, yeah, I ain't hearing none of that. She's still gonna be my navigator. I'm finna go to sleep because I'm tired in this one spot, and I ain't finna move. She told him to leave like several times, and he's like, nope, ain't like, going nowhere.
Dog. I know your dream is to chart the entirety of the ocean, so I'm gonna make sure that happens. Like, that's his whole thing.
Yep. And he goes, like, right after that is when Nami goes back to like the Arlong Park and stuff, and I think this is right before we get the Bellamy flashback, but it's some time before it.
It's like the episode before, I think.
Yeah, and she basically, like, that's when Arlong starts showing how much of a piece of shit he was. Like, in this moment, like right after Luffy say, "Nope, I'm sitting right here, waiting on you to get done." It's almost like Luffy knew, but it'd be funny if he did, but we know he didn't. But like, you see Nami goes and she trying to mess with Arlong putting all these plans into action. You know, he sends the Marines over to her. Like, you knew, it's like you knew this was gonna happen.
Also there is a plot hole, a massive plot hole in the show that I've seen no one talk about. When she's sitting there wishing, like, I wish I could go out to sea with them.
Oh, you talking about the end and when
the
she's trying to get...
No, the flashback that she has. And there's a leak in the boat, and Luffy decides to fix the leak with his mouth. He should have drowned because all of his motor function should go away since his mouth is full of seawater.
That's not a plot hole. He has to be, because he can't swim. That's the thing with the devil fruit. But remember, he can't swim.
It's not just they can't swim, it's they lose... the
ability to swim.
Well, not just what, like, they lose other stuff too.
Like what?
Like, they lose strength and stuff like that. It's not just swimming.
Yeah, but he has to be in the water. The water's inside him. It don't work like that.
That's a plot hole, bro. That's a plot hole. Oh, so it has to touch your skin? Is that what we're saying? It has to touch your skin?
They say he had to be at least knee deep in it, if I remember correct.
Remember, he was big as fuck.
But he drank it.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing, but I feel like it's a plot hole.
How?
So,
swimming and drinking water are two completely different acts.
Yo. What? Real quick. Then it'd be a plot hole that he can't use that to get out of the ocean every time it happens.
I mean, he can't drink the ocean. It's too much water.
Not for that reason, I'm saying, because then he could, like, he should be able to, since he does that, and then it, like, he shoots off of it, right? He should be able to do that underwater.
No, because it negates his, like, his powers get completely negated when he's submerged.
But not when his belly's full of seawater? That's stupid. That feels like a plot hole. How's that not feel like a plot hole?
Because he's not swimming.
So?
That's what it is. They take away their ability to swim.
Like, why does it take away the ability to swim?
Because the sea hates them.
But it's fine with them drinking it?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
It's not supposed to make sense.
That feels like a massive freaking plot hole, dude.
I mean...
Like, it was probably supposed to be like a throwaway thing. But like, the sea hates them. And I think the reason why the sea hates them is because I think that the celestial dragons are descendants of the people that sacrificed whatever their version of God was for power. And that's why the sea hates the devil fruit users, because I think when they did that, they created the devil fruits. That's just a theory, a game theory. But if it turns out to be true, I'm going to laugh my ass off. But you got to admit, like, it is, like, it is weird that it doesn't negate powers to ingest a bunch of seawater.
I mean, that
you can't bathe in it, but you can't bathe in it, but you can drink it. Like, you gotta admit that makes very little sense. Because freshwater is not a plot hole because freshwater and saltwater are completely different, right? We can agree that's not a plot hole because they need to be able to take baths because it'd be weird otherwise. But why can he drink so much seawater and nothing happened to him. But if he's in it, like if he takes a bath, he drowns. Like if he tried to take a bath in the ocean, he would drown. You see what I'm saying?
Because he can't swim.
But also, if he can drink that much, water.
Okay, well, would it make sense for him to eat that much and not be able to drink that much?
No. I'm saying the fact that he is doing it to seawater is the thing that feels like a plot hole.
That's like saying...
Not the fact that he's doing it.
Because we find out that salt is the ingredient later. Like, one of the things that kind of helped, which was in Thriller Bark, why, Brooke was able to take the shadows out of people because of the salt in the salt water. But no,
what I'm saying is why it doesn't really make sense is that it the reason they can't swim isn't because they lose the ability, like they learn the knowledge of how to swim. It's they can't actually swim, right? So it does something to them that's after you eat the devil fruit. We don't know what it is, but no longer swim. Swim no longer function. Swim.exe is corrupted. Like, boom. So it would have to do something to you inside your body. So why doesn't...
Because swimming and drinking are two different things.
But he drank more
it's
than
not
enough
like because
water.
It's almost like you're making the argument that the seawater is supposed to be poison to him.
No, not poison.
So what is it supposed to do?
If being in seawater weakens him, then drinking a fuck ton of seawater should also weaken him. That's what I'm saying.
But what is it supposed to do? I want to hear it. Like, because the devil fruit is supposed to be ability to swim. So if he's drinking a bunch of seawater, you tell me what's supposed to happen.
But no, so if it doesn't make him weaker, then the plot hole would be how come he doesn't use it to pseudo swim, because he could be a shitty jet ski underwater.
His powers are negated underwater.
Then why, when it's the
He's
inverse,
not underwater.
Well, technically he is underwater. He's
but
just not
at that
touching
moment. He's not underwater.
No. Remember, he is underwater because the part
submerged.
of the ship.
Luffy himself is not submerged underwater.
Yeah, but I was like, if he's able to drink enough to completely submerge himself, because he expands to like 5 times his normal size. You gotta admit, it feels kind of plot hole. Like
because Fishman Island. That's why. Like, Fishman Island made it to where that.
We ain't on Fishman Island, motherfucker.
I know, but
we're on a flashback.
I can't explain nothing else. Like,
no, I'm just saying, you gotta admit, it feels like
it doesn't.
It feels like a plot hole.
I'm not telling you not to feel that way, but to me, it doesn't. Because Fishman Island.
I don't get how it doesn't feel like a plot hole.
Swimming and drinking aren't the same thing. Okay, all right.
I know they're not the same thing.
I got one for you.
No, I get that they're not the same thing. But so if it negates your ability to swim, that means it has to do something to your body, right? Not necessarily a poison.
I got one.
But it has to like mess up your brain or something.
I got one.
So how does it not do that when you drink it?
I got one for you. Okay. And it's this. I feel like it's the best, the closest I can get to it. We all know Achilles' weakness, right? It's his heel, right? You hit Achilles' heel, it's over with. He's done. It's
not just his heel, it's more than his heel, but sure.
So, hypothetically, I know that he's dipped and everything, but his heel, and it's supposed to hurt, which I feel like.
It's so the myth, his mother took him there, and grabbed him by the ankle. No, it says they grabbed it like this.
I read it as that.
So let me see your phone real quick,
bro.
So she grabbed him like this so it's not just his, or at least that's the Edith Hamilton version. Is how they explain it, because he is a demigod. He's not a normal person. But yeah, it's mostly his heel. Because there's not really like...
That part of his foot where it held him is where it says...
Yeah, she basically...
Look at the pictures that they got. Like, holding his like foot like that.
That's what she's holding him right here. like this.
In the picture, she's doing that. She's holding his actual foot.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
But still, hypothetically,
that's a fucking Renaissance painting anyway. That don't count.
We're talking about something completely fictional. I don't care. The hypothetical is if I was to, which it probably would work the way I'm thinking about it, but if I was to take a gun and shoot him right here and it goes, well, first it wouldn't even go through.
Yeah, it wouldn't even go through. So that's a bad example.
That is a bad example. But no, like, okay.
But no, what I'm saying is, I think the Achilles thing is a wrong example. So here's what I'm saying. So this is where I'm coming from. It's right. So we don't know what happens, but you just magically can't swim and sink to the bottom of water, right?
Because if you're submerged.
Well, not even if you're submerged. If enough of you is underwater, yeah.
Enough of you is submerged.
We don't know why that happens, right?
But we know it's linked to submersion.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, physically, it does something to your brain to say, I can't do anything now. We fucked, bros. We going down.
Can't swim.
Yeah. But it's not like a poison, but it's a...
So if it's not a poison, then how is it a plot hole?
No, what I'm saying, it feels like a plot hole because... that's what I'm trying to explain. So, like, it's submersion... Maybe. We don't know for sure. It's just submersion. But it does something to your brain when there's too much water around you. Right? When you ingest that much water, then it should also do something. I feel like it's like one of those things Oda just made it to be comedic. And then later on, he's going to write a reason why it doesn't matter anymore. And I just haven't seen that part yet. But at the time, it was a plot hole.
I can't see it.
That's because you've probably gotten to the part where they explain that, and I haven't.
Yeah, Vegapunk kind of gives us some more explanation on that.
But yeah, but like if you
already know,
if you haven't seen that part with the Vegapunk,
your theory about it's already close enough because it doesn't change. Like if your theory about why people with devil fruits was anything to get you right. But if you was to know it, it wouldn't really change nothing that you already had.
Okay, so how about that? So if that is part of the reason, like if the sea just hates them, so it takes away their ability to swim when they're in it, why wouldn't it take away their ability to breathe when they drink it?
Because it doesn't say they can't breathe underwater when they have the devil fruit. It just says they can't swim. Like it's never.
Well, it's not. I'm just saying lungs. Just like let's say like the thing that happens, like like the stomach stops working when you drink enough seawater.
Okay, I got one for you.
Like why wouldn't it? Is my question. Like
okay, when you drink enough water, your fingers don't prune, do they?
That's different because water doesn't hate me.
No, the thing is what I'm trying to get you to understand. The skin reacts to water different than the stomach does. Like stomach's supposed to digest it, but you get enough water, you'll prune.
I get that. No, it's like I get that, but what I'm saying is, like this is different because like One Piece is a magic system where the water actually hates you, right? Like the water takes away your ability to survive in it, right?
Yeah.
To survive in it.
So why would it kill you if you drank it?
Why wouldn't it kill you? If you drank it, like I get that it's not a poison. Like I get that it's not a poison. I get that all that other stuff. But what I'm saying is, if the ocean hates you and believes that you shouldn't be able to survive in it, because that's what it sounds like it's leading towards, why would it be fine with you drinking it?
I mean, the natural person can't even drink salt water anyway. But like. Why? Why would you add that extra layer to it?
It just feels like a plot hole.
It doesn't, because he already explained it pretty well what having a devil fruit does for you. It says you can't swim. Because it doesn't say you can't drink it. The stomach's different from the skin.
But what I'm saying is, like, if the sea hates you and feels that you deserve to not be able to survive while in it, why wouldn't it be the same way while it is in you?
Because you're not in it. That just feels like no brainer. Like he's not in it. He took in the sea inside of his body, not him in the sea.
Yeah, but that's not gonna, like, if somebody wants you dead, right? If some, like, or an organization wants you dead, right? Let's just say, like, you're in an organization, because it's a good metaphor for the ocean. Like, you're in an organization, and you're just like, everybody that's in this group, we want dead. But there's a double agent there in the organization. You want the person dead, you just don't know they're a double agent. But as soon as you know they're a double agent, you kill them. You get what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make sense that he's allowed.
Together. It doesn't. I'm not understanding the analogy of how it fits with this.
So, if the ocean wants devil fruit users dead,
okay,
right? It wants them dead. They are hated by the sea. The sea doesn't believe that they should be allowed to live, right? So it tries to drown them by taking away their ability to save themselves, right?
Right. So that's where the double agent comes in.
Yeah.
But
that's just the quickest one I could come up with. It's not a perfect one. But why does it all of a sudden not hate them if they drink it when it's easier to kill them when they drink it?
Well, go over the organization analogy.
The analogy doesn't matter.
Okay, well, the thing I was going to say about a double agent, they still were allowed in the organization to begin with before they found out they were a double agent. Right?
Sure.
So that's it. They're still allowed before it wants to kill them. There's still loopholes to it. Like, if he drinks water, of course, if he can't drink water, then he doesn't get to live because he's still a human. He still has to drink water. But salt water is
different than like they explain.
But still, what would be the driving force then for it not working in him? Would it be the water? Would it be the salt? Both of which you need for a body. I'm just going off logic. And dudes probably don't need any of that to live.
Because he can take baths. Like, we know he can take baths. So it would have to be the salt in the water.
So would Sanji not use salt to cook?
Probably. But it's probably the fusion of salt and water. Like, it's probably specifically the sea. Because this is a really cool thing in mythology. Most of the stuff that, like, almost all the monsters in mythology are born from the sea, right?
Yeah.
Right. They're all born from the sea. And then the great heroes or the archetypes of the kings would kill the monsters born from the sea. And so the sea would curse the great heroes in, like, Greek and Roman traditions, right? And so it's just a good parallel there. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't make sense that if the water doesn't think he should survive, like, if the water can take away your ability to survive in itself, why wouldn't it do something to you when you drink it, is what I'm saying.
I mean, because the water is never itself said to be, like, a natural hurting force, which is why, like, you see, like, him getting, like, it's certain, like, what's his face, the Fishman and stuff up in Fishman Island. No, we're not there yet, but they use water as their attacks, and it didn't, like, hurt them or hinder them unless it was enough.
Yeah.
And
but remember how big he gets. Like, he drank a significant amount before he, like, gets, like, off of it, right?
That's the thing, though, because he's not supposed to be able to drink that much. Like, you see him get that much and it shoots right back out. So that's why I'm saying it's not normal. Like, he's just made out of rubber. And I feel like since he's not submerged in water, his rubber powers don't get negated. Whether it does something in him or not, the rule is he has to be swimming in order for them to get negated.
So this is where I think it feels like a plot hole. Because if it doesn't matter if he ingests it, right? It doesn't do anything to him if ingests it, then why can't he, when he falls in the water, go...
Because he can't drink that much water and his powers are negated when he falls in the water.
No. I'm not saying drink it. I'm saying
but as soon as he falls in the water, his powers get negated. That's why.
So his powers get negated when he falls in the water, right?
Yeah.
Then why doesn't it do anything when he drinks a fuck ton of water?
He's not in the water. That's why.
No. Like, I get that he's not in the water. No, I'm just saying it feels inconsistent.
No, it doesn't.
It feels inconsistent.
There's nobody else. Inconsistent is saying that it can happen to somebody else. It can't because no one else has rubber powers to be able to take in that much water anyway. That's not what I'm saying is inconsistent. I'm saying it feels inconsistent that it affects the outside of your body, which is infinitely less important than the inside of your body. I mean, for what we're talking about, no.
No, I'm just saying, like, if it negates your powers and turns off your ability to swim, right? Right. Like,
yeah, to swim.
Yeah.
Doesn't turn off your ability to breathe. Doesn't turn off your ability to talk.
No. When they're sinking in water, can they still use their devil fruit power?
No.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm getting at.
But they're sinking in water. Not the other way around. They're in water.
I get
that. That's what negates their power.
That's what I'm talking about. It feels inconsistent because being in water, being the thing, like just being in water, when there's enough water in you, I feel like it should also do something.
That's like saying then devil fruits just don't work then. Like that's like saying, okay, you have water in you, you ate a devil fruit, what's this devil fruit gonna do? You have water in you. Like, at that point, you just ate a fruit for nothing.
No, but you don't drink salt water. You don't drink. Now, if they explain the reason why is because as soon as that happens, it's no... So, look, like, I have a couple of ways that it makes sense, but you might have already got to the point in the story when they explain it. But they explained that once it gets separated from the ocean, it's no longer part of the ocean, so it no longer hates them. It's just a body of water. That'll work. I'd accept that answer.
But still,
because once he
like it's like such a small thing that happens.
Also,
it's like
we know he can expand much more than that, right? Like his stomach can expand way more than he does right?
Later,
not even late. It's like a few episodes later. Like he can expand much more than he did because he's eaten much more food than that before. Like, so what if it could also be that he drank enough to where it starts to negate his devil fruit power? Like, those two explanations, perfectly fine in my estimation.
But you're taking one thing and making it... It's like this premise exists. You're taking this thing and trying to put it on top of it. Like, what you're saying right now does nothing for the idea of what devil fruits does the way I'm thinking about it. Like, to me, literally, it says it. Swimming negates power. He was drinking it. Power, no negate. That's literally it. Like, you saying that it needs to be explained. No, you need to make it more believable about how it's a plot hole. Like, I can't even see it.
No, what I'm trying... Like, so swimming in ocean equal no power, right?
Yeah, swimming
in ocean equal no power.
No power.
So, it means you're going to drown.
Yeah.
Unless somebody saves you.
Yeah.
Like, the ocean hates you, it won't let you do shit in it, right? That's how they've explained it to us so far. Like, the ocean feels that somebody that ate a devil fruit does not deserve to be able to save themselves if they swim, right? We both see that, right? So, if it thinks they shouldn't be able to save themselves while swimming, why would it be okay with them drinking?
Because the danger at that point wouldn't be the water. It'd be how much the stomach can hold. And digestive properties, like, you're drinking the water. If you drink it and you can stop and it can get a chance to digest, it doesn't bother you. But at the point in which you can't digest that water anymore is when it starts to bother you. And that's like, what if devil fruits affect something in the skin is why they can't swim? Like, then the skin
But then
doesn't
paramecia
matter.
fruits wouldn't make sense.
How?
Because they don't have anything to do with the skin a lot of times.
That's devil fruits have things to do with everything a lot of times.
Yeah, like, I get that, but you get what I like. what I'm trying to say is that if because it doesn't affect your skin when you're in the water, it would have to do something to your brain when you're in the water. It would have to turn off your ability, like it would have to make it to where you no longer have the ability to move. That's a brain thing or a nervous system thing. I just don't get why drinking that stuff.
It's literally two different systems that work. That's why I'm not understanding.
No, what I'm saying is if you ingest something, it's closer to going to your brain than it is if you're floating in water.
But two different systems are at play I'd agree if the exact same systems of the body were at play in both situations, but they're not. You're talking about the digestive system versus the nervous system or whatever the system would be. Like, I'm not.
Like, I'm trying to, like we're getting way off topic.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you'll never be able to convince me that it's not a plot hole unless there's something much later on that shows, because ingesting things.
Me, it is a plot hole.
I think I'm just not explaining it in my head well enough. Or you've seen something that negates what I'm thinking of later on in the story. But
I ain't even, bro, I would have said it by now.
So, after that, we just get like Nami's backstory with Bellemere and how all that stuff went down. Luffy runs into fishmen for the first time, and he thought fishmen were just fish with human feet. Mm-hmm. So he sees that they're just human with fish characteristics, and he really doesn't care. He's like, oh, that's what they look like. Cool. And he just walks past them, and the fishmen are like, wait, a human that didn't care what we look like? A human that wasn't intimidated by us? That's weird. It's almost like they wanted him to be racist towards them. But Luffy was just like, nah, racism's stupid. And then we get like in the Bellemere backstory, we see Nami inherited her love of life from Bellemere, her adopted mother, which leads into why Luffy refuses to give up on her. And that's pretty much where these episodes end. So, yeah, it's just, right now, the story's just showing we're not really getting the heavy stuff yet. That's several weeks away. Like, I think like 6 weeks away from the first actual heavy thing.
So we probably cover more in the go? Or?
No, we should still, because there's going to be some where there's going to be some where we're going to have to do like the entire arc, because the arc's going to be like 30 episodes. Yeah. Those, like, we'll just do slightly later in the day, I guess, or something. I don't know. But like, we'll let y'all know the week before that happens. That way it doesn't cause a big disconnect or anything like that with the stuff that's happening. But yeah, that's pretty much all that happens. That supports the metaphor of Luffy being the ubermensch in those 25 episodes. We just we learn a little bit about Luffy's belief system and his motivations and stuff. Enough to flesh out.
Is like the deep part of Arlong, when he like goes into the actual part and everything, when he finds Nami's.
Leave a comment if you have any questions about our conceptualization of it or anything like that.
Yeah, let us know. Go watch some other videos, man. Everything we talking about is just added on to what we talked about previously in our previous videos. So check those out. Leave us some comments. Let us know what y'all think.
But yeah, y'all have a good one. Corrupted
and Drago
signing off.
Later.